Greetings, citizens of Earth. Welcome to my channel. I am here to talk about many things in the final 15 minutes of the year 2019. Well, we don't have that much time left, so let's get straight into it. First, I would like to talk about a novel I really like. Or novella, I guess, called Nightfall. It's by Isaac Asimov, and it is a story about how this planet, a lot like Earth, in fact, very much like Earth, has six suns, all in different points of view, so there's always a sun in the sky for every part of the planet, no matter what, except every 2,000 years. Every 2,049 years to be exact, all six suns set below the horizon for a part of the planet. Now, this causes a large problem because the people there have never experienced night in their entire lives. Because the nights are 2,000 years apart, people go generations without there being a night. So they're completely unprepared when night finally comes. And it's insanely scary. Apparently, every 2,000 years, according to scientists, society collapsed because people went mad from the darkness, because their instinctual fear of the darkness came from the fact that there was no night. And they had such a fear of the dark that they would literally burn cities just desperate for any light source at all. And that was extremely bad for just everyone involved. And it completely reset society every 2,000 years. And that was the whole premise of that story. I didn't read much of it, but it's an interesting thought experiment, in my opinion. Ooh, speaking of sci-fi, Star Trek. They have done sci-fi incredibly well. They're probably one of the top sci-fi shows I would pick if I had to pick a few. Since they delivered, especially the later Trek, they delivered so well. There was an episode I really liked of DS9 called Past Tense. It took place during the past events of the year 2024, where in that year there was a series of riots led by homeless people against the fascist capitalist regime that had taken over. And I think that has a lot of implications and meanings here in our reality too. Because even in our reality, homeless people are quartered into small spaces and oppressed by capitalist fascist regimes. And it's incredibly bad that this is happening, and the discrimination against women and minorities is still a thing, of course. But now, even more so, classism has become a thing. And it's so much of a thing that people have literally been imprisoned just for being poor, both in real life and in this universe. It's a terrible thing. And one of the reasons I like Trek so much, they deliver that point so well each and every time. They just do it so well. and it's so brilliantly done. And in a way, it kind of reminds me of 1984, in a way, about how the greedy 1% would eventually take over and become dictators and become extremely oppressive and invasive of everyone. And the government would become corrupt and extremely totalitarian in structure. And I think they got that partially right. Except that the government's not the one at fault here. It's the corporations. A lot of rash decisions, not just rash decisions, but decisions that have heavily impacted people for no reason. Corporations have done things that impact people just for the sake of profit. They'll do anything nowadays just to get a little cash. And I feel that's extremely broken. We shouldn't live in a society where, say, YouTube, for example, the very thing I'm posting this on, has ridiculous rules about, first of all, COPPA. Jesus Christ. Content creators are not babysitters. And also, YouTube has been really treating small content creators like myself very poorly lately, and it's very frustrating to live in this world where YouTube basically thinks that you're subhuman just because you don't have 10 trillion subscribers. All they care about is money. Just that sweet raw cash. That's all they really care about. They don't care about people. They don't care about privacy. They don't care about anything. And I'm going to get demonetized because of this, but guess what, YouTube? You picked a war, and you're going to get a war. That was a rather touchy subject, I know. But, let's move on from that. Let's move on to talking about Minecraft. Minecraft is an excellent game. It is so brilliant. It's so genius the way it's designed. No game has ever come close to being anything like it. Sorry, Terraria, you're good, but you're just not Minecraft. And to say it's good and that I should recommend it to you is an understatement. Minecraft has so much you can do. The only limit you have is your imagination. And 256 blocks. But mostly your imagination. But it's mainly so great just because there's so much ambiguity. When there's unknown, it makes it that much more magical. Like H.P. Lovecraft did. He made monsters that were very obscure and nobody really knew much about. But that made them 10,000 times scarier. When you don't know the physical properties of something, that makes it so much more ambiguous and intriguing. And that's ultimately what makes Minecraft so brilliant, is the fact that it's so ambiguous. You can do whatever you want. Reality can be whatever you want. I'm quoting Thanos there on purpose. Reality can be whatever you want. It doesn't have to be some limited thing. It can be a tower. It can be an entire mansion made out of sponges. I don't even know. You can just walk out onto a grass plain and plant a flag and say, this will be the future site of whatever you want it to be. And that's what makes Minecraft so brilliant. The final thing I would like to talk about before 2020, something that has affected all of us, something that will affect all of us for the rest of our lives, likely, is climate change. It's a problem that knows no limits. It knows no persons, it knows no bounds, and it knows nothing. It only destroys. And the people who create it don't even realize they're doing harm. Our Earth's atmosphere is slowly warming up. Ice caps are melting, the animals there being dehabitized. And for what? Corporations are doing this. They're not stopping because climate change isn't a threat to them. Well, that's partially because of it. But they're stopping because they are greedy corporate entities that have no regard for humanity in the slightest, and they will do anything. And in 100 years, if we keep our ways, Earth is going to be a barren wasteland. If we want to keep our green grasses and blue seas, we have to stop, and we have to stop now. We must do something about this imminent crisis. It's so destructive that its effects may never be reversed, unfortunately, sadly. It's very, very sad. But finally, this. Viva la evolution.